Cooking is the act of preparing food by combining, mixing, and heating ingredients together. Cooking is a passion of mine, and I hope to actually open up my own restaurant in the future. Also, it is a type of modality that I use very often to express myself and to relieve stress. One reason why I love to cook is because I am very picky with how my food is cooked, especially with knowing which ingredients are being used. Also, I tend to cook traditional Haitian dishes, so I find this a great way of expressing and introducing my friends to the Haitian cuisine, which also makes cooking my own meals meaningful to me. The ultimate reason why I chose cooking as my occupation is because I value home-cooked meals, and unfortunately, in this fast-paced society that we live in today, sitting at the dinner table with your family is slowly becoming non-existent. Cooking can also be fun because you can share those moments with family and friends, or you can be creative by cooking new dishes. Personally, cooking has enabled me to explore and open up to different types of cuisines. Cooking is one of the most useful and universal activities in which one can engage. One can do food preparation without heat. There is peeling, chopping, dicing, and the use of various pieces of equipment. One can cook on top of the stove or in the oven. Cooking can be a work role, play, or leisure activity, and even self-care. One can cook for oneself, cook for a family, or cook for groups of people. Because there are many different ways in which it can be demonstrated, cooking works very nicely with many therapeutic applications. Within the occupational therapy practice framework, cooking falls under IADLs. Engaging in cooking is considered health management and maintenance because it promotes health and wellness, but it is also considered a meal preparation and cleanup because engaging in cooking requires planning, preparing, and serving well-balanced, nutritious meals and cleaning up food after meals. Lastly, cooking falls under social participation because it can be facilitated with family and friends. As an occupational therapist, it is important to understand the client's perceptions, motivations, and related meaning that are influenced by engagement in occupations. Engaging in cooking is a great way to work on attention, memory, sensory functions, motor skills, and process skills for clients of all ages. In a clinic, I observed in a session an occupational therapist working with a client who was an amputee who had lost her right arm, and she also suffered from arthritis. There are ways someone with these limitations can still adapt to this activity. Cooking this meal required me to hold cooking utensils to stir the pasta. Someone who has arthritis can use a larger handle to make the utensils easier to grip. This will also decrease the amount of hand strength needed to grip the utensils. To actually cut the cheese, an amputee will need a rocker knife and an adapting chopping board with steel prongs and corner guards that will hold the items in place without spilling over while the client slices and dices the cheeses. Cooking this meal also required me to open up a can and mayonnaise jar. Opening these two usually requires one hand to hold and the other to twist, but an amputee cannot. So one thing an amputee can get in their kitchen is an electric tin can opener and automatic jaw opener mounted on their wall, which will remove any difficulties in opening both items. Lastly, a pot holder can be placed on the stovetop with suction feet to secure the pan holder to the stove and the wire frame to hold the pot handle when stirring the pasta, keeping the pan from accidentally turning and causing spills. Hello, my name is Cassie, and today I will be making macaroni au gratin, which is a traditional Haitian dish. So these are all of the supplies and items that you need to actually make the dish. So for instance, you need a roast pan, you also need a pot to boil the macaroni, and these are the utensils that I would use to stir and cut the cheeses. Step, you want to take water, you want to pour it into the pot, and the amount for this type of pot, you want to do like halfway, and then what you want to do is pour some oil into the pot, and the purpose for that is so that the macaroni, when they're boiling, they don't stick together. And then lastly, you want to put some salt in. I put like about 4 to 6 pinches of salt, and this is so that the macaroni gets a little bit of flavor, so it's not bland. So this is what it looks like. Okay, so the second step is cutting the cheeses. So the first thing you want to do is take a pair of scissors and cut open the cheese. Sorry. This one is Monterey Jack. And so today I'm using the Barella brand. As you guys can see, the water is boiling, so you want to pour the macaroni. So now I'm going to let the macaroni boil, cover it up. So now that it's ready, you want to turn off the heat, and you want to strain out the water. So this is the strainer that I'm going to use. Now that I have strained all the macaroni, it is time to put in all the ingredients. So the first thing I want to do is put mayo. So you need a smaller spoon to scoop out the mayo. There's also light mayo. This is really good for amputees. You can actually just use one hand to just squeeze it out. So the next ingredient that I'm going to use is evaporated milk. I usually use this brand because it's just a tradition. And this gives the macaroni a good creamy taste. The next ingredient, I'll do corn. So I like to put corn because it gives it that sweet taste. Next, I'll put some parsley, a little bit of black pepper. The next ingredient would be seasoned salt. A little bit of sriracha hot sauce, only because I like a little bit of spiciness to it. And then I'm going to put my cheeses. I like to put cubes and also shredded. Okay, also some mozzarella cheese. It is time to stir. I like to put them all at once so that I don't have to constantly stir after each ingredient is put in. So now that I have stirred all the ingredients together, it is now time to put it in the roast pan to put in the oven. So you're just going to take some, bring it over to the pan. So now that I have placed all the macaroni in the roast pot, there's still leftovers, particles left in the pot. So I'm going to use a spatula to scrape it all out so you don't have any leftovers. I'm going to add breadcrumbs to the top. And now you want to put Parmesan cheese on top. After that, you want to put it in the oven. You want to set your oven to 350. slide it right in. And you should wait until it gets brown on the top, and then once it gets brown on the top, you want to take it out. So as you guys can see, this is the end product. It took 20 to 30 minutes, depending on how brown you want it. So as I said before, this is macaroni au gratin, so this is a side dish that you can have with rice and chicken. And this is what it looks like. Thank you.